Good evening, Zambia, and morning to, I know other parts that would be viewing us. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And welcome to this program. We have a medical myth-busting program this evening. And with us is Dr. Mulenga Teddy. So the doctor runs a page called Doctor's Files on Facebook, on social media. And we get quite a lot of funny remedies, and you hear all sorts of things that you would think, you'd want to say stranger things have happened, and then when you hear them you have quite a laugh about it. So I think he's quite the appropriate doctor probably to help us bust some of the myths we always think are quite right. So welcome to the program, Dr. Teddy.
Thank you very much, Mwelwa, and good evening and good morning to the viewers out there.
Thank you so much. And going straight in, I would ask, what is your specialty, or what is your, I think that's the term, specialty, or your field of medicine?
In the field of medicine, I'm particularly specialized in obstetrics and gynecology, women diseases, maternity issues. But because I've been at it for 34 years, running sometimes several hospitals, I have had to do several other things like surgery, pediatric diseases, HIV, AIDS, and everything else. So I'm an all-rounder, so to say.
Yeah. Okay. No, thanks so much for that. And why did you go for gynecology? I know a lot of people look at men who are into gynecology. There's a lot of funny statements that somebody's going to tell you, like, are you going to your gynecologist? Is it a man or a woman? And then you have all sorts of funny looks about it. So what made you go into gynecology?
Because we are the only profession that can undress your wife and charge you for it.
That's a nice one. I'm wondering what the husbands are going to be saying.
Exactly. I'm actually taking a bite at the husbands.
I figured. Yeah. So why does it seem like, as Zambians, we prefer non-regulated these herbal remedies than our doctor's orders? What is it that is so attractive to these home remedies, or I call them grandmother's tales, but I think our grandmothers were more intelligent. So I feel like it's disrespecting them. So I'll say herbal remedies.
I think the way I look at it is, I think we are a superstitious nation. That's one thing. Very superstitious. Okay. Yeah. And then the other issue is that the majority of our people are simply ignorant. I'm sorry to say. So there's superstition and ignorance on the way. It doesn't matter if you can go up to grade 12, but you see, you can take someone to town, but you won't take the village out of them, so to say.
Yeah.
So that's the basket of Zambian psyche. It's a superstition and ignorance added together.
All right. Okay. Thanks so much. So I think just seeing some of the comments, we have Mr. Kelvin Ngoma asking what's the topic. So our topic is medical myth busting. So we're busting some medical myths that we kind of think are real. And there are a lot of people, like the doctors just explained, that even educated people believe some of these myths, like, to the T. And you get a bit confused. But I think that's some of the elements that is talked about. So to our viewers, thanks for joining us. And we equally ask that you share this program and that you equally send us some stars, because that's the only way that we exist. So thank you so much for those that already sent in and to those that we're going to send in. And so I think most of these myths are so surrounded within, I don't know why, I find it very funny, but it's always around the sexual topic. So we find that our gentlemen are going to be going for elongation products. Now, I've always wanted to ask, does it work? Is this something that works?
Right. Not Mwelwa, not only elongation of organs, right? Our ladies, that's for the men, right? Our ladies are going for hip enlargement. Yes. Whatever that means. Okay. Now, here's some disappointing news. Other than spending your money and making your pocket empty, there's nothing you get from it. There is no tablet, there is no herb that can elongate, your sexual organ, that can enlarge your hip. If that was so, why don't you ask the same people to make you taller, for example? Or make your finger longer than it is, or your eyes wider. We love wide eyes, right? Why don't they ask them to make the eyes wider, or the nose sharper, and the lips less prominent? None of that kind of stuff. For our ladies, the hips are at the back. So when they get those remedies, there's no way they can tell whether they have enlarged or not. It's a psychological warfare. Once you get the money, you are ready to believe anything. And also that same thing goes for the men. The muscles down there for the private parts are not the ones that can be, enlarged. They can't. Okay. By age 21, you can't change your structure. You wouldn't. You would not grow taller. You would not grow bigger bones. It's all an end. You can put on weight. Yes, generally. Yes, you can put on weight or lose weight. That we accept.
Okay.
So it's a myth.
That's a myth.
Busted.
Okay.
Busted.
So all the Congo dust buyers, you've just been wasting your money.
It's just a psychological thing. even in medicine, sometimes we can use water to treat you. You understand?
Yes. So that's
When we know, for example, situations like hysteria, overreaction to certain things, we simply use water because we know that it's just a psychological thing, and you recover. So when they take the so-called Congo dust and the whatever Mpwanya, whatever, they are just first they have spent a lot of money. So so they are big candidates to believe. That's the purpose. They have to believe. They have spent money, so they believe the thing is working. Actually, it's a psychological thing. Once you believe, yes, you might notice some improvement, which you wouldn't do without any, but the problem is you are taking in substances you don't know their effect on the kidneys, their effect on the liver. Have you seen? So no, they don't work.
Okay. The other one I'm always interested to ask about is because this is one of the funniest things, but I look at women, and women are so engrossed on the idea of being warm for the man. And I always ask myself, I always think, I mean, if this was the case, wouldn't we have been born with a heating system and you switch it on and you switch it off? But now you've got to take something in to hit you up. And I'm wondering, are men now amphibians? Like the way the snake comes out and it's warming up. Is that the case? So I always wonder, is this something that a woman needs to do? And should even men be expecting women to be whatever temperatures that,
Mwelwa, there is a misconception here. If you talk to the men, there is no man who says this one is warm, this one is cold. They may say that, but they don't mean that warmth of temperature. They might mean maybe this one is inactive and this one is more active. Yeah, but the sexual organ has no temperature gauge on it, okay? It does not understand whether the place is warm or whether it is cold. In fact, in that moment, you are not in the condition to tell what is warm and what is cold. So you find our ladies are using currently, they are using what? Insuko, Insuko? Tobacco, puff, which our grandmothers, your grandmother and mine were using it like this, right?
And the funny thing is, my grandmother would say, someone came kutulo, and that's why I started. But my sisters today have it all over their mouth and they're confused because they're looking so young. Nobody came to them in their dreams.
Now, surprising, they are using that in Suko, which is tobacco, all right? And they are putting it, that's our young ladies and some women. They are using it to so-called, they insert it into the private part so that they can, according to them, so that they can be warmer and tighter. But and also some people are using Flagyl, an antibiotic. All right.
What?
Yes, they are using Flagyl and they insert it down there. Flagyl is supposed to be drunk anyway. It's not meant to go down there. So you can see that they are using a substance that's supposed to go to the stomach so that it can be neutralized by the acid in the stomach. They insert it down there. It acts on the coverings of the organ down there, and then they start having inflammatory problems, inflammation, swellings, itchings, and everything. Then they start wondering, but they are the ones who inserted those things, which are not supposed to be inserted there. Tobacco, insuko, inserted down there, has the propensity to make you develop cancer of the cervix. And we have 3,000 cases of cancer of the cervix in Zambia. We don't want any more problems. So, no, there is nothing like warmth or cold in relation to a woman. As I said, probably they mean active and inactive, not the temperature. It's not applicable.
Okay. So this one is more towards the ladies, and probably I would ask this one straight: is anything that we are taking, especially women, I hear this all the time, that they need to tighten themselves down there, and we're taking all sorts of things, and we're using our herbs, we are using our spices, ladies are now drinking clove tea. And I have a funny thought about this, because when I think about it, I'm thinking, so you make your tea and you drink it and it's supposed to tighten your muscles. But how come it doesn't tighten your mouth? It doesn't tighten your food canal. It doesn't tighten anything. It just goes straight to those muscles. And I'm always wondering, because I can see some educated women, I'm thinking, sisters, we all went through biology. Have you forgotten? Or so is this something that can even happen? And does childbirth cause somebody to lose elasticity downstairs when you're down below? Is that the right term?
Right. You know, I have been in this business looking after women for many years, about 34 years. Childbirth, repeated childbirth. Once in a while, you might get a big baby, which might be difficult to deliver. It might be difficult to deliver. So sometimes it creates tears, all right? Or we create a tear for you, episiotomy, so that the baby can come out. Now, depending on the experience of the midwife or the doctor delivering you, they do the suturing. Sometimes it's not done well. All right.
Okay.
So yes, you can be loose down there. You can be. And even the tears, some of the tears are ignored. They are not repaired. So it's possible that after healing, there is a looseness. So that's acceptable. So, but what is the solution? The solution is not to take something into the mouth or to insert something there. None of such kind of things work. I myself have done a lot of what we call repair operations for those who are complaining. First, of course, some it's a psychological problem. You have to examine them. If you find that it is not there, you simply assure them and they go. Of course, with protests, you know how ladies are. They don't believe you. But others who are genuinely loose because they are the poor healing episiotomies, those tears we make in the labor, we do repair. There's no problem. We say 15 minutes operation, we tighten you up. I used to joke with my patients that I'll make you a virgin. And I used to do that. So the line was very long.
Okay. All right. I think thanks for that one. And does the human being need to detox? Because I think this is the latest trend at the moment. We have so many detox teas on the market. Does a human being need to detox their body? I think that's probably the question I'll be asking.
You know, that one actually pisses me off quite a lot. People have been to school. People have been to school, Mwelwa, right? As you were saying. Surprisingly, I don't know what happens. What are we teaching in school? What biology are we teaching our people? The body is a computerized, institution. When it wants to clean itself, you are going to go to the toilet. When it wants to clean itself, you are going to pass urine. When it wants to clean itself, you are going to sweat. Okay, the salts come out. If you have tasted sweat, it's salty. So the salts, extra salts, some come out through urine, some come out through sweat. When you breathe out, you are taking out dead carbon dioxide. Now, here comes a person who has been to school, ignores all these elements of detoxification by the body, starts to swallow tablets. He's not sick or she's not sick. No, I met somebody at the market. They say I should detoxify my body. Oh, excuse me. You are ignoring the mechanisms of detoxification and you want a tablet to clean your body. How does a tablet clean you? How does a herb clean you? This one pisses me off. I don't understand our people. So it's a myth and it's a scam. Those people selling those things. They give you a tablet, you drink it, turns your urine green, and you are happy. You took in a white-looking tablet. When the urine comes out, it's green. You say, no, the date has come out. I would collapse, Yeah.
I think that's you would actually, I think, because sometimes it's mind-boggling. I think the other one that is also a recent one on the issue of urine is where I've heard these women say you can neutralize. And I think this is a witchcraft element, like you said, was superstitious. So these ladies are now using your urine. So if you think that your husband's been fed something, they are now claiming that you could use your urine and you put it into your partner's food. This is where I feel really, I pity my single brothers, and support, or even I think even the married ones still get this. And apparently it's supposed to neutralize any witchcraft that could have been used in your husband. So that neutralizes witchcraft.
Oh no. You are kidding me now. That one is extreme. Urine is just a waste product. I mean, why would it do anything to anybody? It's just a waste product that belongs to a toilet. That's it, not to the plate. So
our poor brothers and fathers, and they are being fed this. Apparently, it's neutralizing whatever witchcraft would have been placed, whatever hex would have been put on your partner if he's straying. I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
So
that's terrible.
We have a lot of products on the market, and some of these products, like we are saying, they sound very funny, but people are so convinced that these things work. So things like your cell rejuvenation, I've heard someone say it either the side effects of menopause. Really, since I haven't reached there, I don't know. There's some
what is that
now that can die.
What is that? What is that?
Cell rejuvenation. So they're products that are supposed to rejuvenate your cells, and these are supposed to help
stem cell, right?
That's the one. That's the one. Yes.
STC30. It's trending in Zambia.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one is actually.
Is that working? Is that something we can even believe in?
I'm happy you've brought up this one, because I think a lot of people have spent so much money, especially people with blood pressure, high blood pressure, sugar disease. They stop the treatment and they go to the streets and they buy STC, stem cell therapy. And they are promised that this thing is going to change the disease process, your blood pressure will stop, your diabetes will go. Now, here's the bad news. First of all, there is no stem cell therapy in Africa, maybe South Africa to a certain extent, not much. The countries that are really engaged in stem cell therapy is Australia, South Korea, USA, and Iran. 4 countries are ahead. So we don't have such in Zambia. So when somebody gives you a capsule or a tablet or a herb and says this is a stem cell thing to in fact they say to treat all the diseases, okay?
Yes, it's supposed to treat everything.
What the people must remember is this: the real stem cells are embryonic cells, okay? Cells from a growing fetus. When you deliver a fetus, we get the stem cells from the umbilical blood and keep them in case you have a problem. We shall use them in the future. Not here, I'm talking about America and other developed countries. Then we may get stem cells from the spinal cord, okay? From the spinal cord, where the cells are manufactured, we get early cells there. Now we use that stem cell to treat things like leukemia, okay, cancers, okay, different cancers, lymphoma and other cancers. We actually transfuse through the vein. People must listen carefully here. It's a transfusion of blood cells through the vein so that they go in the bone marrow to create new cells so that your cancer can disappear. That's what stem cell therapy is. Not this nonsense and crapado I'm seeing in the streets at stem cell, STC, whatever, 30. It's even got a number.
It has a 30,
in capsule form. You cannot keep blood cells in capsule form and drink them and they treat you. So it's just some collection of some herbal preparations made into a capsule, fantastic claims, and our people are buying. my appeal to the people, keep your money. There is no stem cell therapy in Zambia. It's a scam of the highest order.
It is, because so many people are on it, and you hear everybody. You know, if you fall ill or anything, and people come to visit you, that's the offer. You know, these days it's not even the let me pray for you. Or the first thing people say is, have you tried them this? Have you tried the other one is the diagnostics machine. I think that's a Chinese thing, and it's supposed to check you for all sorts of things and go and find the actual problem in your body. And you're a bit confused as to why we want that.
The quantum, it's called quantum analyzer. That little machine. So they must listen to me, because I had that machine. I had imported it for the purpose of seeing what it can do. Okay, so I have an experience with it. And you hold a probe in your hands, and there's a laptop. And then it prints out. It prints out sometimes 300 diseases in you, right? Your heart has got fat, your liver has got fat, your blood is thick, blah blah blah. Your sperms are not working, blah blah blah. A lot of nonsense. And then the person who has never even seen the halls of a medical school is seated there telling you what disease you have. And then the funny part is, do you have 2,500? There is a medicine for you, herbal medicine. Now, first, the person has never gone to school to study the human body. Then he's trying to prescribe to you medications. He doesn't even know where they are going and what they do. The machine itself is not a diagnostic machine. If it was a diagnostic machine, why don't people ask, why don't we have them in the hospitals? If it's so simple that you can just hold a probe, connect to a laptop, and you know your problems from A to Z, why don't we keep them in the hospital? They don't ask that question. We don't keep them because the damn thing does not do what it claims to do. The machine itself, it's used in research institutions where they are doing physiology studies. So it actually maps out ionization in the body. It has nothing to do with disease. That's why doctors are not using it. It's for physiology studies. So our people now mistakenly think that this is like a machine which will pick your diseases and then you'll be treated. Scam.
Yeah.
It's a myth.
Sadly.
Busted.
Yes, busted. Yeah. So the other one I wanted to ask you was, this is a recent claim. I think in Zambia it's not yet trending. I'm sure when it arrives they'll wake up. But in Nigeria currently there's a trend where the health facilitators, medics are all asking people not to smoke, especially the shisha. And the doctors are claiming that shisha affects women, your blood circulation. So for a man, your knife will not get sharp, and for a woman, you have many miscarriages. Is this true?
Right. Shisha is simply tobacco smoked through a pipe. All right. It is tobacco, a flavored tobacco that is burnt by charcoal, or coal. Yeah. So then it comes through the pipe after passing through water, and then you pull it. Shisha is simply tobacco, but you inhale it in fact massive doses. If you have seen shisha people doing their thing, there's a lot of smoke around. Yeah. So the bad thing about shisha is that it is much worse than the cigarette. I'm not promoting smoking, but I'm just saying comparatively, shisha, if you smoke 1 hour, you inhale 1 hour of shisha, it is equivalent to taking 100 cigarettes at one go.
Wow.
Okay? Wow. Yeah. So all the things that tobacco does to you, shisha is going to do 100 times worse. That is respiratory problems, cancer of the mouth, of the bronchus, the breathing apparatus, cancer of the lungs. If you go to Lusaka, UTH cancer hospital, you find a lot of such cases. Cancer of the lungs, right? For women, it can create infertility, cervical cancer, and all that. Men, as you mentioned, yes, it is true. Tobacco can cause constriction, that is narrowing of the blood vessels of the genital organ, and it can lead to erectile dysfunction. So now, the more you take in the tobacco in you, in form of shisha, the worse it is for you. Tobacco itself, cigarette is bad enough, but if you take in shisha, you are taking 100 cigarettes in 1 hour.
Yeah. All right.
That's about shisha.
Yeah. And it's so sad because there's so many young people. You go out and you find so many young people playing around with it. We can buy it so easily now from any shop. Nobody's going to ask you. And unfortunately, maybe in Zambia, our regulations are not so tight. Nobody's asking you for your ID. And I know this used to irritate me in other countries where somebody asks you for your ID and you start looking at the person thinking, when you know, kind of thing. But you realize that you don't have it here in Zambia. And maybe we need that enforced a lot more.
In fact, what we need in Zambia is not identification before you do your shisha. What we need is just to ban the stuff. You don't gain anything from bringing in toxic substances, more toxic than the cigarettes we are having. And what I've seen is our young people think that it is for the upper mwambas, okay?
It makes you thing to do, yeah.
Very fashionable. You have arrived in the world when you are doing shisha. My dear sister, brother out there, you are actually endangering your health. Ni fashion twalisa twalifika. So we are the ones trending. Zero. So for me, I think the government should ban that. Before it gets worse, just ban it. Ban the importation. Absolutely. We don't make shisha pipes here, equipment. We import them from India and these Asian countries. Simply stop wasting our dollars. Yeah. That's it.
Absolutely. I think you're very right. And we have a question by somebody in the comment section. Says, Doctor, please talk of the pads. I think these are sanitary pads from a company which claims to dissolve fibroids and open the blocked fallopian tube. So I was going to the fibroid element, but I think this is a good way to get to that topic. What do you think of these magnetic, miraculous sanitary pads that dissolve body masses?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I've been asked that question several times, but it's a good question. These are things that they call them panty liners. Panty liners. Okay?
Yeah.
They say these things are capable of dissolving your fibroids, treating your sexually transmitted diseases, treating your menstrual disorders if you have got prolonged periods and heavy periods and painful periods, all sorts of claims. Now, again, if we have been to school, good people, a panty liner ends up down there. How does it go to the uterus again? So which route is it using to enter into the uterus to sort out the fibroid? Oh, man.
I
don't know. I don't understand our people here. See, ovarian cyst, it can actually sort out your ovarian cyst. How is it entering there to sort out? You're not drinking it. You're not inserting it inside. You are wearing it. So it doesn't dissolve. So,
yeah. We must have a magnet. As women, we must have a magnet in the womb. That's corresponds to the magnet.
Zero. Just let's not entertain this kind of it's just business. I mean, these things mostly are coming from South Africa. These companies, they send this stuff to you. You go in the streets, you recruit people. It's just business. You sell nonsense, but you make money.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
and it's always
disease process. Meanwhile, the disease process will continue. And when it is late, that's when you start running to Dr. Mulenga. Hey, my periods are heavy. But it's because there's a fibroid that has been growing for 5-10 years. No, you have been wearing pads and panty liners to treat your fibroid or ovarian cyst. When you come, we just take your uterus out because it's too late. Finito.
And that's the sad thing, yeah.
Yes, it's very sad indeed. I don't know what has happened to our school systems. I don't find these things in Western Europe, Russia, Korea, or anything like that. Why our people, you spend 12 years in school and you come out dry? You've been doing biology and all that. You come out nothing, empty. Why? Is it our education system? What is the problem? Why are we missing it? I don't know. I don't know how to explain this one. I would understand if it's my mother in the village. All right? I would understand. They don't know nothing. They haven't done the biology to know where the uterus is, what is a cyst, what is a fibroid. I would understand. But if someone is going to University of Zambia or Nortec or Evelyn Horn or CBU, and then says, I have to wear a panty liner to treat my menstrual problems. Come on, guys. Yeah. What happened to our brains? Do we leave our brains
we left them. Well, I think when we finish school, we just leave everything. No, I always think that, I think sometimes our school system is not one that asks you to think. That's the problem. We just swallow. And so because we swallow everything, when we finish, it doesn't go anywhere. And that's why I think sometimes we even have the audacity to say, why did I learn the parts of an insect? Well, so that you can also make sure you learn the parts of your body as well. But I think there's not that kind of connection doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But we are working on that one. We are repreaching, retraining ourselves. Yeah. And those who have got ears, let them listen. Let them listen.
Absolutely.
That's the best we can do. We can't force them, but we are laying things very openly, very simply. Let those with ears hear.
Hear it, yeah, absolutely. Another one that is funny as well is the arrival of what they call sex suites or bedroom suites. That's what they're called. So they're all over the market. You find them in the marketplaces, in your bus stations. Women are trading them secretly and publicly, and they promise all sorts of things. Now, I did a little experiment. I went into a shop and I wanted to buy some spices, and it's very funny. I don't understand why you find the spices with these bedroom spice, suites. But I asked the person who's selling what they were for, and the list was endless. Some are supposed to help you get in the mood. Some are supposed to help you detox. Some are supposed to, all sorts of things that these suites are supposedly doing. So I wanted to see what it was. So, I stocked some of them, I tasted some of them, and some of them in my tasting, I thought this was a lemon that was just dipped in this, like lemon sugar. That's what it tasted like to me. It was just, fruits that have been air dried and they're dipped in sugars and lemon salts. And I thought that's what it was. Do those things work? Because women swear by them miraculously.
What I've seen is that if you want to sell anything, attach bedroom issues to it. Even just even go into the toilet, collect some feces, package it, put some sweet there or lemon feces, right? And tell them, no, these are purified feces, but they will help to improve your bedroom antics. They'll buy.
Yeah. And because people are buying elephant poo for blood pressure treatment. Yeah.
Yes, they'll buy anything. They'll do anything. You asked it, do they work? Of course they don't. It's a waste of money. People must understand the sexual act actually happens in the head. It's your mind at play here. If you start preparing yourself early, passing sweet things to each other, not quarreling before you go to whatever you want to do, you start early preparing yourself psychologically, you are happy, everything will be well. Sweets, whatever you call them, whether bedroom or kitchen, they don't work. Keep your money.
We are making a lot of people rich in Zambia.
And you know what, Mwelwa, what I think also, unfortunately, our regulatory mechanisms are not doing their job also.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they are not doing, because you see, in certain countries, I worked in Botswana 21 years. If they see you selling such things on the street, they arrest you. Immediately, they arrest you. They don't allow you to swindle people nearly with just willy-nilly, just like that. No ways. You understand? So our regulatory health professions council and ZAMRA and all these kind of things are not doing their job. That's why at one point, I don't know if you saw a Dr. Fernandez or something like that in Lusaka producing what he called PHT.
I remember something, yeah.
It's alkaline, you're supposed to take it, your blood will become alkaline, it won't allow COVID, it won't blah, 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 it will treat HIV. We reported to ZAMRA, it took so many months before they acted. Finally, after prodding them, they acted and they, you know, threw away all that thing, withdrew whatever place he was renting and what, they stopped the nonsense. But we need more of this. Markets are selling roots that are not verified. They are toxic to the liver, they are toxic to the kidneys. No, for us, it's okay. They are herbals, they are herbs.
We're very relaxed on that front. I mean, recently, we have been seeing a detox tea on the market. And this detox tea, the ladies say it has terrible side effects. One girl in particular told me that she had this effect where she got so weak that she had a bout of diarrhea that she's never had in her entire life. She asked the seller if it was okay for somebody who had gas issues. And the seller said it was perfectly fine. And this poor girl spent the whole night in the toilet. She was only lucky because the doctor was present. Another lady claims to have taken the same detox tea and got into a point where she thought she was dying and had to call her mother in. And I think the mother thought really fast and had a drip inserted at home. It was that bad because they couldn't even move her. And unfortunately, that seller said something which made everyone think. She said she was authenticated by ZABS. And on top of being authenticated by ZABS, she said that he was safe for breastfeeding mothers. That's where the nurses began saying, look, this is not right. But unfortunately, the market in Zambia, the culture is you're pulling a sister down. And so I began trying to check around what is supposed to be done. ZABS claimed we don't do that. We just verify the products someone is claiming are in that packet. The people who we are supposed to see are supposedly supposed to be ZAMRA. ZAMRA equally says, oh no, it's not us. Go to UTH. UTH also equally says it's not us. And you know, it becomes a game of, and I'm thinking, so people, as we're doing this, people are dying and people are introducing things onto the market. Another one I found very funny was, you know, the Maasai guys, they chew something all the time. And I was what do you know, they would never tell me what it was until I asked, you know, some gentleman, they said, no, this is supposed to help the guys. But these are things we're introducing on our markets and nobody is questioning it like you're saying. So I think we really need to take to task our regulatory bodies.
You know, Mwelwa, I was traveling to Kitwe in the bus, jumped in a fellow. You have heard of Babado seeds, right? The fellow starts, I'm a doctor, the fellow starts there. He has never even gone up to grade 12 from the English he was speaking. He stands there and starts to teach us on the physiology of the body, the anatomy and the diseases, diabetes, and this tea, this seed is going to clean your systems. And everybody's there listening. After he's through, they start taking out their 10 kwachas and 15 kwachas. I stood up and said, young man, I'm a medical doctor. What you have been talking about is all nonsense. You cannot treat diabetes. You are cheating people here. People die if they stop taking tablets. And you know what happened? The people turned against me. So Have you seen that?
Happens,
Blah, 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 blah. This, we have a big problem, you understand? So that babado seed is supposed to produce diarrhea. According to them, the more diarrhea you have, the more clean your system is. Now, diarrhea will dehydrate you. Diarrhea will make you end up in the hospital. So how can you have diarrhea and then be happy? Excuse me, children die from diarrhea every day. Gastroenteritis. It's dangerous. And somebody takes a seed that I want to clean my system. I had a lot of diarrhea. Hey, I almost died. But I now even the color of the stew is coming a bit lighter. I said, come on. So,
you killed all the bacteria that's supposed to protect you.
So my appeal to, if they are listening, to the Health Professions Council, the Zambra, and every regulatory body is to, come on, how do you allow these fellows to jump in buses and start cheating people? And even the drivers, why do they allow such? Because they themselves, they believe in them, in those things. But then our regulatory bodies should make sure that such things don't happen. We don't have to allow our people to be exposed to dangers in the name of cures and verified cures. We can't allow these people jumping in buses, cheating left, right, center, drop off, collect some money. After that, our people get sick, then they end up in the hospital on drips. And our regulatory bodies are sleeping. They are sleeping.
That's the other sad element I would equally add on is that it feels like even the health professionals are at loggerheads sometimes. So many times we get conflicting remedies or solutions to problems. I know some nurses who actually sell the bedroom suites, which makes you, what are you doing, you know? And that contradiction just pains you. Recently, again, I read something, there's a doctor on social media, lovely guy, he wrote something to the effect, which I thought, you know, he wrote something to the effect that some contraceptives are saving women from cancers. In my head,
are doing what? Are doing what?
He said that contraceptives can protect a woman from having cancers.
Now,
in my head, I've been treated before, and I've had to use a contraceptive that got banned because it was proved that some women were susceptible to cancer as a result of using that particular contraceptive. Now, there are all these conflicts, and you know, on social media, he hasn't explained that there's some loopholes. He hasn't explained that there are some actually, like Yasmin, which is now it's recommended, but you know, there's all that issue, especially in Europe, where some countries have actually even put it off the shelves. So these conflicting statements from the medical profession, I feel like they just make everything worse.
No, I don't know. I agree with you. For example, let me say this: a child gets flu, right? Nasal congestion and some headache here, fever, slight fever, and what goes to the hospital. A health worker, it's just flu, it's a viral infection. A health worker prescribes amoxicillin and Piriton. That's a health worker, you understand? Yeah. And when we were teaching these health workers, we told them that flu is a virus, and they were writing notes. In the exams, we told them, how do you treat flu? They never put amoxicillin there or Piriton. You understand? They put even whatever days it's not supposed to be. I'm just trying to agree with you that even among ourselves, we have a part of the members of staff that passed through school, you know, not really passing through school, in inverted commas. So we have that.
The long suffering.
Yeah. and I was involved in teaching in-service education. These are the problems we try to eradicate, where amongst ourselves, this one is pulling this way, this one is pulling. But science is one. What happened to reading? What happened to updating yourself? So, yeah, we have problems even ourselves. How does a health worker prescribe an antibiotic for flu? So, sometimes it's very annoying.
Yeah, it feels it feels counterintuitive, counteractive on the other element. And for some of us who maybe I worked in a health sector, and I know sometimes some of these things. I'm not medical doctor or anything, but I know that an antibiotic should not be played with. It shouldn't be something
No.
that you play with it, because over time it becomes counterintuitive.
Resistant.
It will not work. Resistant, yes,
In
that's the
fact,
term.
in fact, not just antibiotics, Mwelwa, because, for example, right now, you know that we are not using chloroquine in the treatment of malaria, right?
Yeah.
It's because people used to take chloroquine even when they have flu, because in malaria, when you have got temperature, fever, everybody started saying that's malaria, and they started getting chloroquine every day, taking chloroquine. And eventually, the malaria parasite became resistant to chloroquine because we were misusing it. Right now, we are using Coartem for that same reason. So it's not only antibiotics. All medications must be used for a diagnosis that you have established. If you misuse these drugs, they will sooner than later they stop working. The parasites.
We have. I think we have an interesting question here by Hisoli Munangongwe. I hope I'm saying this right. He says, "Are you against African medicines, doctor? As for me, I think we need to take African medicine into the labs and test their efficiency. Remember, our parents used to treat us before the colonial medicine came." So I don't know, what are your thoughts on that one?
There is, first of all, thank you for that question. There is nothing like African medicine. And there is nothing like white medicine. There's only one medicine. Okay? Yeah. There's nothing like African. There's medicine is medicine, man. It's going to the liver and kidney. It doesn't choose this is African medicine. This is a misconception we have. Whatever you are taking in the body must be studied. Its action. How long it takes to be in the body. How does it come out of the body? How much should you take? How much should the child take? All right? Whatever, yeah. I'm talking about whatever. Yeah. Whether it's a root you have mixed, you must know, have some knowledge, okay? Either traditionally passed, okay, that's welcome, or from school. Yeah. Okay, penicillin is from a plant. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Coartem and other medicines are also from plants. So we are not saying that plants don't give us medicines. No, no, no. What we do is we take the plant, analyze it, extract the active substance, okay, take out the toxins, okay, and then study how it is working in the body, and then start selling it or making people to use it. So we are not against any branch of drugs, whether they are traditional ones or whether they are modern ones. I don't even want to say Africa. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
We are not against. What we are against is you have never been to school. You don't know where the liver is, whether there are 3 livers or 2 hearts in the body. You don't know where the stomach is. You don't know the function of the stomach, but you are busy treating people. That's what we are against. Mm. Take time to learn. That herb you are using, what is in it? Do you know? 0. Yeah. So the problem is not the herbs.
That is so true. It's what is in the product that we don't know.
Yes.
I think there's a lady that sells some bleaching creams, and she had a 2, I think it's like a 2.5 liter container. She was calling some miraculous concoction that would help you sort out your, I think that was it was against female reproduction. You could have twins as a result of that liquid and everything. And I think she got reprimanded by the authorities. And when she was trying to justify herself, she said something that was very interesting. She said, this comes from my grandmother, and my grandmother wouldn't lie or give me something dangerous. Now, I don't know. I look at the lady, she sells bleaching creams. At what point does a bleaching guru become a medical profession? But women were taking these things, and it gets very, very disturbing. But I'm going to introduce. Sorry, you go ahead, doctor.
No, so the short answer is nothing wrong with herbs. The person who is using those herbs must know what is in them, how long they work in the body, how much they should be taken, when to take, and all that, the dosage. and the active substance must be known. Because one herb, when you pull the roots, they contain a lot of chemicals. Some of them are toxic to the body. That's what we are against, not general. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna there's Juliet Mulenga that has joined us. Juliet, do you have anything to say, contribution or question for the doctor?
Just hold on a bit. Do you know who that Juliet is? That's my daughter. That's my daughter.
Oh.
She's a medical doctor.
That's nice.
She's specializing in ophthalmology in the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine.
Oh wow! Welcome, Juliet. This is really nice to meet you. And please feel free.
Thank you. No, I'm just enjoying. I totally agree. We need evidence-based medicine. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Roxana Gelu.
Roxana. Okay.
I didn't really have anything to say.
Okay.
I'm just listening in.
All right. Thank you so much. Doctor, another question that came in from, I think not a comment, it's more of a comment, is our women are easy to con. Just say it boosts your sex antics. Even holds cough drops, I believe, to boost sex. The other thing, doctor, people are inserting stuff down there, including Septrin to tighten the vajayjay. Sadly, such is coming from the nurses. So I think that's...
Those nurses, if there's a nurse encouraging such kind of practices, must be, first of all, the license must be withdrawn. We don't have to allow such crude, dangerous practice. So if there's any health worker encouraging such kind of things, they must withdraw. The nursing council must withdraw the license. They are not worth the name they are called.
Absolutely. I think that's
just
absolutely
one
true.
thing to add.
Yes, Juliet.
Like usually a lot of time when people get something in the eye or they splash chemicals in the eye, they usually get breast milk or some sugar or any kind of funny things and they put them in the eye. That actually makes things worse. So please don't add anything in your eyes. Just come straight to the hospital. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff and yeah.
Breast milk, huh?
And I answer, why don't they sell the breast milk in the pharmacy? And when you have someone, then they're like, oh, it does not make sense that you could get it from the over the counter if it was that good a remedy.
You know, one thing, Mwelwa, what we forgot to add,
yes,
is the frenzy about the idea about weight reduction. Most of the people, they think that you can just take a tablet or a glass of lemon or ginger and you are seated, right, eating your cakes and your ice creams and your baking shima and the halfway loaf at breakfast and potatoes, and then you take a tablet to reduce your weight. So, or you go and buy from game stores some equipment which you put on your tummy to reduce tummy fat. So that I want to tell the people, there is no tablet, there is no herb, there is no equipment. The equipment is there, but it doesn't work. And the tablets are there, but they don't work. The way to reduce your weight is to check what you are eating, how much you are eating, and to increase your physical activity. 2 things, that's it. Food, activity. Tablets, herbs, equipment from game stores, it's all lazy man's work. You want to eat anything, you sit there, you drive yourself to the toilet, okay? You don't even walk there, you drive yourself there in activity. So that's the cause of weight problems. So the solution is just food, what type, how much, and activity, increasing activity.
Yeah. I think another misconception or a topic that is very, I feel like the men are a little insensitive, and it's the whole idea is that, is there anything to be looked down upon if a woman has a C-section as opposed to having a natural? We call it natural birth, but I think everything is natural. You know, both are natural. I think it's just the ways it's done. Culturally, it feels like men feel like women are lazy. Even some women think that any other woman who went through a C-section is lazy. In fact, they'll discourage their friend from going to the hospital in time and say, just hold off. You'll be obvious by the time uzafika, uzacho sache mwana. You know, so what's your comment on this?
I get you.
Told by my relatives, like, make sure your second child you push it out naturally, okay? Don't take the easy way out as taking a C-section. Like my own relatives actually called me like, oh, you're not so strong because you had a C-section. And actually the recovery period for a C-section is much longer, and there are more dangers associated with having a C-section than with having a vaginal delivery. But whatever method you take to bring life into this world, people shouldn't look down on it and put you like you're weak. The fact is, you want to have a healthy child at the end of the day. You want to have a live child at the end of the day. If you're supposed to have a C-section and you delay because of what people will think, you might have a dead child, or you might have a child with severe, what can you say, mental disease. Brain damage, because you have delayed something that is there to make sure your child enters this world safely. So I don't think C-section should be looked down upon. It's actually a very painful experience to recover, and both of them are painful. Both of them need strength, actually.
I don't know. I don't have to add anything. Dr. Mulenga Jr. has done it. So
absolutely.
I concur with that idea. There's just that our men should understand there is always a reason why we do cesarean section. Well, there might be a big baby. Maybe the baby is lying in a different position which cannot come out. Maybe they are twins. One is feet first and all that. There are a lot of reasons. Maybe bleeding, severe bleeding, and all that. So they don't simply understand. It's not like the woman just says, "No, I want the easier way out." Which easier way out, as Dr. Mulenga is saying there, that junior doctor there? There's no easier way out here. A cesarean section is not an easy one. I have lost people on the table operating a cesarean section. They continue bleeding. I try all my tricks, try to remove the uterus, and the woman still dies. But she came in walking. So they're actually very courageous. A woman is a very courageous person. Whether she goes for vaginal delivery or cesarean section, it doesn't matter at all.
All right. The other one one of the, I think somebody has commented in this comment section, is that, do women need to put anything on the baby's frontal fontanelle? This is very common. I find people putting all sorts of things, and now the baby looks a bit freaky, and you don't want to open the hat because you want to admire the baby's hair, but then you find things and do we need to put anything on the baby's fontanelle?
When I was a junior doctor in 1988 at Kwaengwe, you know Engwe, after Davison Hospital. It's near Chipurukusu compound. So what we are talking about was a daily bread. When a child has meningitis, this is space which closes by 2 years. But when the child is smaller, you can see the pulsations of the heart as the heart is pumping. Now, when there is meningitis, inflammation of the brain covers, that fills up and it stops pumping. And what do? Instead of coming to the hospital, my Chipurukusu people, they'll take something, some blackish herbal things like charcoal, and they make a cross there. And then they sit at home. When the child becomes almost unconscious, then they bring to the hospital. Then we start fighting now. Why have you come this time? And blah, blah, blah. And then we start fighting to save the child. So it's just a misunderstanding of the work of the fontanelle, the so-called space there. Sometimes when the child is lost a lot of water, dehydrated, the fontanelle, that space, will go in. Again, they see that as a problem. Instead of giving the child fluids, no, they paint the stuff because it has gone in. It just goes in because of dehydration. So it can be full and not functioning, meningitis, or it can go in and because of dehydration. So we get this kind of misconceptions. Anyway, we used to treat the children and still go in the compound and start with an announcer, whoa, please don't do this. Whoa. Did they listen? Our people. Yeah. So no, you don't have to paint anything. These are very dangerous signs in a child. You simply run to the hospital as quickly as possible.
All right. Another one I think that I recently heard, which this one just is mind-boggling, and I don't understand how mothers do this, but the whole concept that a baby has a tongue tie and somebody needs to physically, cut that there, and how, one of the funny things that I always wonder is how common are these in reality? And if we're really honest, are these so common irregularities when people are born, especially as Africans? Because I feel like it's very predominantly as Africans. You don't hear it in other places that the baby had a tongue tie. And so why is it so common amongst us?
It is so common amongst us because we've got our grandmothers. So the only person, my experience has been that every tongue tie has been found out by the grandmother, not the grandfather. The grandfather is drinking chivuku somewhere. The grandmother who sits with
the cavity of the baby's mouth.
Yeah, the grandmothers are very, very, they always look for problems. They're looking in the armpit, looking in the ears and everything. They find problems everywhere. So it's a grandmother's diagnosis. A real tongue tie is very rare. If you get a tongue tie, the child will not come out of maternity. We won't release the child because the child will not be crying. You can imagine, just hold your tongue, you won't be able to produce proper sound. The child cannot suck properly because the tongue is tied. So if the child is suckling and the child is crying, okay, only the grandmother will see the tongue tie. Now I can explain why the grandmothers think that there's a tongue tie. And also our health professionals, when they are inexperienced, they also go with the tied. They also go and cut. I've seen a lot of doctors and nurses also cutting, and clinic officers and everything else. So it's because of inexperience. As you get experience, you find out that it's not necessary. What happens is that when a child is born, the tongue is short. Okay, so that septum, the so-called tie, it looks near. It appears near. So to the grandmother, of course, the tongue is tied. She doesn't know the anatomy of the tongue. You understand? So if you leave that child for 2 years, 3 years, that tongue protrudes out. It grows out. And that septum, that tongue tie, so-called, goes behind, goes back. We all have it, by the way. I don't know why our grandmothers are not cutting them right now. They are still there. It's only that a little bit further than what it appears in a child. So my message to our health workers, grandmothers will still find the tongue ties. Don't play along. Allow the child home. As long as the child is breastfeeding or able to eat, the child can cry. There's no tongue tie at all. Doesn't matter how near it looks, it will go back as the child grows. So it's a grandmother's diagnosis.
Okay. So I think my last question is going to be, why does it seem that as women we have more health complications than this is the claim. I'm not very sure, but the claim is that so many women are now having the fibroids, the polycystic ovarian syndromes, endometriosis, which never used to be the case before. Is it true, or is it just that we are now getting a little bit more knowledgeable and people are walking into the hospitals? Maybe prior they were just dying from home and didn't know what they had.
It's the same question you can ask. Why are we getting more suicides right now? Suicides, isn't it? So it looks. So the answer is that there's social media. There is more information available. People are to a large extent, they are coming to health facilities for checkups. People are doing cervical cancer screenings and everything else. So our services have gone up a little bit, and we have upped the game. So the problems which were hiding and killing our people without them knowing are being discovered. There is no increase in fibroids. There is no increase in ovarian cysts or polycystic ovarian syndromes. It's just that we are got social media now. We've got people coming to the clinics and hospitals, and we are able to tell them that you have a problem here. Before, they would die from bleeding, not knowing that they had a fibroid. You know, they just at home with the all herbs being given and all that kind of stuff. Of course, there are certain issues like polycystic ovary syndrome that could be, in the present circumstances, could have increased because of we are using a lot of chemicals in our bodies, right? Hormonal preparations, even when they are not necessary, so that we disturb our hormonal balance. That is also possible. With the foods we are eating, we are seeing more hypertension, we are seeing more sugar disease because our lifestyles have become sedentary. If you go to the village, in my village where I grew up, in Kasama village, Sunkutu village, you never find a diabetic. You never find a hypertensive patient there. Why? They are working, they are making malasha, they are in the field, they are active. You and me, just to go to ShopRite, you have to have a taxi or a combi, minibus. So these have tended to increase the non-communicable diseases, war cancer, war diabetes, war hypertension, and of course things like epilepsy and other things. You know, the problems of looking for food every time, money, looking for money, stress produces disease. Stress produces disease. So yes, some things have increased because we are in this kind of age where we have everything acting upon us more than what our parents went through.
Yeah, and I think the other one I've just remembered is, does you drinking cranberry juice, having yogurt cure yeast infections? Because I think that's very common with women.
Drinking?
Taking cranberry juice and taking yogurt, does that cure yeast infections?
What I've seen is that yogurt can be used not by drinking but by insertion. Although I would prefer people eat it instead of inserting it. You know, it's a nice thing to waste. So yeah, sometimes it treats yeast. But why would you want to do that why would you want to put some meat somewhere down there or some other food, milk product somewhere, when a child needs to eat the yogurt? And then you have got antifungals just lying there, very cheap. Get the antifungal and use it. Cadbury, what do you call it? Cranberry juice is when somebody has a urinary tract infection, UTI. It is advisable. Juices like that can assist, but the thing is that what we advise is just increase your intake of fluids. It doesn't matter whether it's Cadbury or Schweppes or Chikoroki, you know what I mean? Just increase fluid intake so that the urine, the fluid, the liquid can wipe out the stuff inside. The bacteria can be washed out. So just increased fluid intake. So yes, that helps in UTI, urinary tract infection.
She's frozen. Somebody was asking if it's okay to put urine in the eyes.
And how did you answer that one?
Oh, no, it's not okay.
Urine is
if a cobra has spit in your eye and then they were told to provide urine to put in the eye, it's not a good idea.
No, it's not.
Cobra or venom sometimes is alkaline and then urine is acidic, and because of the breakdown of the protective factors in the eye. You put urine which has bacteria and toxins into the eye, it just like makes everything worse. The best thing to put is water.
Water, neutral substance, water, yes.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Water,
yes.
water, and come to the hospital.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
I think.
Hello, apologies there. I think my network just went off.
No problem. We are used to that kind of stuff.
Sorry. Apologies. I don't know what's happening with the network. I was hoping it would hold off, but I think I went quite a while. I think I've gone over an hour. So any other closing remarks? Do you have any closing remarks?
Juliet, do you have anything to say there? Quickly.
Just evidence-based medicine is really the best. People don't understand that the reason health structures are structured the way they are and the medicines are prescribed the way they are because people did scientific experiments to test out all of these medicines to see what is the effect, what is the dosage, and how does it help. It's not because doctors feel like it or they just feel like giving you this medicine for no reason. Everything we do in health is based on science, knowledge, and it's always evolving. That's why every few years you find there's a new treatment for that because we're always testing out medicine, always testing out things, it's an evolving thing. So don't say, oh, doctors, this year they say this, next year they say that. No, it's because it's an evolving thing. If you ever query, you can easily do a Google search and find out for yourself, like some of these medicines have really basis in science and everything. So evidence-based medicine is the best, Yeah.
Now, for me,
thank you so much.
my closing remarks is I just want to appeal to our people not to think that we are against traditional treatment. What we are against is blind treatment. You don't know what you are doing, but you want to do it. You don't know the substance you want to use, but you want to use it. You don't know what happens to the body, but you want to use a substance. That's what they are calling African medicine. There's nothing like that. There is no African engineer, okay? African accountant. So there's nothing like African doctor. There's only one doctor, the one who knows the body and knows what to do with the body. Finito. The rest, kuwaya fe, KWWF. Yeah.
Like you like saying, it's crapado.
Very much crapado. I was warned never to use that word when I come to Bakwetu TV, but it can't come out. I can't help but mention it, you know. Crapado is crapado. What can you do? Yeah.
Definitely. No, Doctor, thank you so much for humoring me and for coming on and even sharing this time. I know you're a very busy person. Same with Dr. Juliet Mulenga as well. Thank you so much for joining us and your input. It has been invaluable, and I can see from as many of the comments, people are saying thank you, and it has been really informative. So thank you so much. And to our viewers, thank you for listening in. To those that sent in our stars, thank you so much. For those that shared, equally, thank you so much. And have a good night.
Thank you.